Hey, Frank, both LeBron and AD were talking about the mid-range capabilities of Phoenix and obviously Booker and Chris Paul. How much of your schemes and kind of the traditional game plan that you might have do you think it gets impacted by that in screen roll, especially? How much adjustments have to come against this specific matchup?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say there are adjustments, just an alertness to it. There's a perception that defenses in the NBA want to give up the mid range, and take away threes and basket attacks. But we want to take away everything, especially against a team that's very good at knocking down mid range shots, like CP3 and Book are, and really their whole team is. So we want to take away everything, and certainly that's a part of it.
What do you think could translate most from AD's performance, Frank, before LeBron returned just a couple weeks ago against Phoenix in that home game?
Well, I just think that we did a good job countering and taking what the defense was giving us. More so in that game than any. But you can't take a whole lot away from one game out of 72. Phoenix didn't play a great game defensively that night, but they're a top 7 defense in this league, and we know they're going to put up a hell of a fight. So but there's some fundamental things that we did well in that game that we have to try to repeat.
Hey, Frank. A number of Phoenix's star players are making their debut in the playoffs. Do you see a key factor in this series is leveraging sort of your experience and your players' experience, and maybe forcing some of those less experienced guys or guys who haven't been in the playoffs before to make kind of tough decisions?
Yeah, I mean, I think the experience thing is one that when you have a group that won a championship recently, I think that benefits you in the next year's playoffs. In terms of guys not having experience in the postseason, that could go either way. I was a part of a situation in Indiana where guys were getting their first playoff experience, and they were so excited about it, they played out of their minds. They just played really, really well, and we always have the mindset to expect our opponent's best, and I'm sure those guys that haven't been in the playoffs, are going to bring their A game. We got to be ready for it.
Bill?
Hey, Frank. We haven't talked about this in a couple of weeks, but did you guys reach the threshold of vaccinations on your traveling party that you'll have relaxed protocols on the road? And I think you're nodding. I'm wondering how you see that benefiting your team, on an extended road trip now and kind of throughout the playoffs.
We have not reached it yet, but we're still hopeful. And I think there's obvious benefits from a standpoint of us being able to do more things, with each other in the cities that we're going to. It's something that's been absent league wide in terms of team building and team bonding. For all of us, it's been a challenge. So if we're able to reach that threshold, then obviously we can do more.
Dave?
Frank, now that you're through it and beyond it, is there anything that Wednesday's play-in game kind of stirred up in your team that otherwise you might not have had entering in game 1 of the playoffs?
Well, if you win, I think there's benefit to it. You know what I mean? It's just a high risk event. You know what I mean? If you lose, there's big consequences. But if you're able to be put into that environment where every possession matters, and you're able to prevail, I think there's a benefit to your group of heightening your senses and your instincts to create that playoff environment before you hit a 7-game series. So hopefully that plays as a positive for us going to the next game, but we'll see how it plays out.
BT?
Good afternoon, Frank.
What's up, BT?
Everything is good, man. Can you envision using your 3-center rotation in this series? And can you also see AD playing some at that position?
Yeah, we're going to look at everything. This is one of the games that we played Mark and Trez together against Phoenix, and they had some success. Obviously we looked at some things, defensively that were concerned as well. But everybody's got to stay ready, including being able to use lineups with AD at the 5. And we'll do whatever we need to do to win that game. And, like I said, everybody's staying ready for when their number's called.
Alan Sliwa.
Hey, Coach. Before the game against the Warriors, you had mentioned ideally it'd be nice if you guys had another 7 days or 10 days playing together. I'm just curious, as each playoff game goes by, do you feel like the team becomes a little bit more dangerous just from the continuity and getting time to play with each other, guys coming off the injuries? Is that become advantageous as the playoff progresses for you guys?
Yeah, well, I'm certainly hopeful of that. You don't really know how it's going to play out. You play that tough environment game, that we did with the Warriors, and guys were, put in an environment where they got to play maxed out. When maybe they're not ready to play maxed out in terms of their legs and their lungs. And then trying to build a cohesiveness is imperfect as well, because you're just trying to put lineups out there that'll win that game. So. I think it's just something we'll continue to monitor as each week goes by, and hopefully we can continue to build our cohesiveness at the beginning part of this series.
Jovan.
Hey Frank, KCP is obviously really good in that sort of chaser role of following guys around screens. I know it's going to be a group effort against Devin Booker, but how important is KCP's individual defense in that matchup going to be in just trying to slow Booker down? Yeah, well, like you said first, you said it yourself, it's going to be a group effort, not just with multiple guys being on Devin, but how attentive our bigs are. They have to win as many battles as the guy on the ball, and that's what I was most impressed with. With our game against Golden State, with limiting Steph to under 10 three-point field goal attempts. Wasn't always about the guy on Steph, but how alert our bigs were. And, we just got to make sure, that we have the same type of performance against, really both Chris Paul and Book and all their guys that are coming off screens. Campaign has been playing really well for them. But our bigs did a really good job in that Golden State game.
Last two, Brian Kamenetsky.
Hey, Frank, when you guys get into the scouting for a series, how much attention do you pay to the coach in terms of maybe things they've done over time in past series, the way they've responded to certain adjustments, things they like to do? I'm just wondering how much the other coach plays into it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're playing against the coach of the year. Monty's done a phenomenal job with this group. Taking them from where they were 2 years ago and what they did in the bubble last year and where they're at now. It's really remarkable. So every coach has a certain style of play and things you may see, whether it's timeout plays or defensive schemes or things they like to run offensively. So, I think that just falls in the bucket of what their team's personality is and what their offensive system and defensive schemes look like. That's what in terms of dialing into what the coach's style is. Those are the things that show up.
Last question, Michael Duarte.
Thanks, Will. Frank, so many coaches in this league, especially a star-driven league like this, will say something like, they're going to go with their horses, the guys that got them there. Your in-game adjustments, the ability to sit all-stars or guys that just might not have it going that night and go with the hot hand or go with the better matchup for you, what you're seeing. Where did that come from in you, and how are you able to do that and then massage these egos in handling that as well?
Well, for me, it's just about whatever it takes to win that game. We coach to win. We set that tone with our group at the beginning of the season every year. And, our guys understand that, it's, some nights they're going to play more than others. And, we're going to put the guys out there that are going to help us win that game. And I put a great deal of thought into, how a game could play out and what impact certain guys will have on that game. And, obviously the coaching staff does a great job, making group decisions with me in game, to help us feel that stuff out. It doesn't always play out well. But it's one of those things where, you just study it relentlessly, be as prepared as possible, and make the best decisions that you can.
Thank you.